So I finally read Immortals of Meluha. Hello friends, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Storytell. In this video, I'm gonna introduce a new segment where I'm gonna read some of the most popular books, and these series are something that have been loved and praised by everyone. I'm gonna be reading it under popular opinion tag. These videos will be in continuous order. For example, if there are 3 books in a series, I'm gonna be reviewing 1 book per week for 3 weeks. And I do not wanna do a very long series because I don't wanna invest so much of my time and I do not want to be committed for months. So most I'll be picking will be of 3 books or maybe 4 books. That's it. I don't want to go for any long series. So this week I picked up Immortals of Meluha. I have been hearing praises about this book ever since it got released. So many people have suggested it to me. So many people have said that even though you do not read that many Indian authors, you should try this book because this book is a gem. And I kind of thought maybe this is, because these books have been suggested to me by the people who do not really read or never actually read. But they have suggested it to me. They've said that this is a brilliant book, and I thought, why not give it a try? But I was kind of disappointed. I know many of people loved it. Many of you think that it is a gem. And I'm not saying it was a bad book. It was actually a very good book. And why I was disappointed was because it has potential to be much more. It was a bestseller. I know it fulfilled its purpose, but still for me it was lacking some of the bits, and it has so much potential. That kind of made it disappointing for me. So before I start telling you what I liked and disliked about the book, let me tell you a little bit about its storyline. Amish has created this larger-than-life world building of the city of Meluha in the Indus Valley civilization, where everything goes by the laws of the Ram. The residents of Meluha is called as Suryavanshis, and their arch enemies are referred as Chandravanshis. There's another clan in the mix, which are the Nagas. They are considered to be terrorists and has been told to be aligned with Chandravanshis. Both of the clans has been looking for a savior for a very long time, and in the search of that, Meluhans find our main character, Shiva. Shiva was the clan leader of this another tribe called the Gunas, and he has been fighting his own wars. So when the Meluhans came to rescue them and take them to their own city, he was very grateful. He was very shocked to see the prosperity and the history and culture of this place, and especially how well they were doing and how amazing and beautiful they all look. One night while he was traveling to the city of Meluha, he was given this drink called Somras, which made his throat turn blue. Hence, he was called the Nilkant. The Nilkant was said to be the savior of the Meluhans, and he was supposed to be born to eradicate the evil. After that, the journey of Shiva actually starts. He is mesmerized by the city of Meluha. He is surprised to find them doing so well, while he, back in his clan, was living as a barbarian. He is awed by their buildings, by their history, by their culture, and he is awed by the laws that they follow. He was also shocked to see the effectiveness of the Somras, its healing properties, how he was healed from inside out, how his throat was turned blue, and everyone from his clan was doing much better health-wise. On the other hand, the people of Meluhans were happy to find their savior. They finally found the Nilkant, who was born to eradicate the Chandravanshis and finally get rid of the evil that they were spreading. The story is told through the eyes of the Shiva, and we learn about the city of Meluha and the history and the culture and the mythology through his version, through the knowledge that he gains from the people of the Meluha and the Pandit that he meets in the journey. And through that we learn everything about the city, the science behind it, the mythology behind it, and that is what makes it more interesting. So what I loved about this book, I love the world building. I love the world created by Amish. It was so unique. It was so different from what I've heard. I have, of course, have read so many mythology books, but not this way. This seemed more real. This seemed more like something you can relate to. This seemed more human. And that is the thing that I loved about this book, because this was more practical. This book made more sense. The story, the legend, whatever we have read made more sense. The science behind it too was all logical. The sense, even the science behind Somras, which I think was just amazing. The way it described how it gave the healing properties, the oxygen, the antioxidants. I never actually knew about this, so that was a great thing to learn. And Amish presented that to us. He researched, of course, so much and I think that should be appreciated. His knowledge of this mythology, the way he worked in this book, I think that should be praised, and that was praiseworthy. I loved the world. I loved everything about it. I loved the city of Mahuluhas. I loved the city of Chandruvanshis. I loved everything. Another thing that I liked about the book was the knowledge that I gained. I didn't know so much about the word Om. And Amish told me that. I knew this word, of course, we have known it for centuries. We have used it so many times. For us, this is a very religious word. But he showed us what each and every line meant. And I'm not sure how much truth that is, but for me, it felt real and it felt so knowledgeable. Another thing was Har Har Mahadev. I thought it was just a chant, means it was just said in respect of the Lord Shiva. But what each and every word meant, like Har Har, I didn't know it meant everyone, like everyone is Mahadev, that everyone is God, and I loved that. I loved that bit. Another thing that I liked about the book was the character Shiva. I think he was most relatable. He was not all good, he was not all white. For me, he was a grey character, and really liked that. He made his mistakes, he has his past, he is innocent, he is sometimes can be made a fool, and I think that is what makes him so much relatable, and I think that is what I loved best in his character. And especially in the last chapters, I think he really shines in those chapters when he learns about Chandruvanshis and he learns about his errors and ways, and in that particular chapter he shines very well. Another thing that I liked about the book was the character Parvateshwar. For me, he was the most real character. In an instant, he didn't believe Shiva to be a god. He thinks that respect needs to be earned instead of just given like that, and he does not believe that he's just a god because everyone says he's a god. He abides by the law, he has his own principles, he has his own morals, he abides by the law of the Ram, and he believes in equality, he believes in the belief of Ram, and in the scenes where he needs to show his emotions, he does. In the scenes where he needs to respect Shiva, he does. Overall, he was the only consistent character in the book. Now let's talk about the things that I didn't like about the book. I didn't like the character development. I don't think there was much character development. Characters remain the same apart from Shiva. Now no one changed in their character. Everyone was same from beginning to the end. There was no transformation, no nothing. The most disliked character by me was the character of Sati. I think she was a forced warrior. She was just shown for the story that she is someone who's very brave and who fights her own battle. But she has very contradictory nature. On one hand, she is not afraid from a fight, she is a rebel, and on the other hand, she lets herself be trampled by the laws. She doesn't fight for her, she doesn't say anything about the unfairness of the society. So she cannot be both. She cannot be someone who is trampled all over by the society, and she cannot be the other person who just is not afraid for a fight. There's this scene in this book which I think was unnecessary. It was just thrown in the book just to show us how much brave Sati is, or what kind of a warrior she is, or how powerful she is, even though that particular scene served no purpose at all. Sati was called out by this person, and he said that because she's a Vikarma, she's not supposed to be anywhere near the Yag, not even in the same platform, nowhere. And she was called out by that, and at first she was okay to leave without having any protest, and I don't know, just one word from him to Shiva and she just burst out in anger, and she just calls for the Agni Pariksha, and where she of course defeats him, because that is not a spoiler, I'm just telling you because we all know how this was supposed to end. So she just defeats him, and it is shown how powerful she is. But this particular scene served no purpose at all, because when she needed to fight in the last battle, she wasn't there. In the whole book, she is praised so much about as a warrior, but we do not actually see these things. We just heard from the people. So I think her character needed more development. She needed more scenes where we do see her as a warrior, and her nature should not be that contradictory. You cannot just let the society do wrong to you, and then other hand you're just a rebel. And even in the end, she just in the background, after she gets married, she is nothing but a character in the background. She has no role after that. She's not even fighting the battle. She has no opinion at all. She just stands quietly behind her husband. So I think I didn't like her character at all. She needed more to do. Another thing that I didn't like about the book was her relationship with Shiva. The relationship had no basis. There was no chemistry between them. There was no communication at all. One day Shiva just sees her fighting, and he just falls in love with her, and after that he is totally devoted to her for no apparent reason. There was nothing happened between them. There was no communication. They never talked for more than 2 seconds. There was just one dance scene and that was it. He was so devoted to her, and she too got very much devoted to him. She was not afraid to die for him. But why? I never saw them fall in love with each other. There's just one scene in the tent which I liked, and apart from that, I was not convinced with their love story. I think their relationship needed more time to develop. The last thing that I didn't like about the book was one of the main things. It is the storyline. I didn't like it. I think it was way too simple, and for a world that is so large and so unique and so brilliant, I think it needed a much better story. The story was way too simple, and most of the time it was just learning stuff. We were just learning things. We were learning through Shiva, and we were just, by the 50% of the book, we were just learning things, and I don't know, nothing was happening much in the book. I only liked the last, I think 10 or 15% of the story, because that was when something was happening, and other than that it was just me learning stuff, and I didn't mind that much of it, but still I think it wanted something more. There was still a story need to be developed more. I was more excited to learn about Naga than I was excited to learn about the Maluhans. I think if they have included their story in the book, I would have liked it more. And I know the second book is about the secret of Nagas, so of course I am more excited to read that book. I know this book was a base of the trilogy, but still I think it needed something more. There were no big conflicts in this book. There were just few terrorist attacks here and there. That's all it. There was no big romance. Like I said, and didn't agree with the romance, and there was nothing big happening in this book. So I am actually hoping much more from the Secret of Nagas, because I think it needed to develop more as a story, and it has such a huge world building, and I think the story can be much better, and I'm really expecting that from the Secret of Nagas. All things aside, I cannot help but appreciate this book and the brilliancy of it. I think it's a very unique take on mythology. I think it's a brilliant book, and especially the science and mix of everything. I really like this book, and it is something to be praised. The problem with me was I was expecting maybe way too much. If I would have read it as a simple book, I would have liked it more, or maybe I would have read it 10 years back when it was actually released. I would have loved it more then. And I think that is my problem. That is my own opinion. Still, I am okay to give it 4 out of 5 stars, because even though the story and the characters needed to be developed more, I cannot help but appreciate this world. I cannot help but love this book and the world building that it created, and it does keep me hooked, especially the ending. It has kept me hooked for the next book, so I'm really excited to read that one too. And of course I'll be bringing that next week. Until then, do not forget to tell me what you thought about the book and leave in the comments down below, and I will be back with the second installment of the book and tell you what I felt about this, and I really hope that it is much better than the first book. Till then, keep reading.